Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And as part of this show, we typically have a guest or two on to help me to make sense of something happening in the world of comics and collectibles. And on this show, we are going to have two guests joining us to discuss a couple of different topics. And as a reminder, this show is rebroadcast as part of a podcast. And you can actually find Regie Collects on several different podcasting platforms. All you have to do is search for the name and you will find me there more than likely. Shout out to everyone that listens to me on a consistent basis on the podcast. We are getting closer by the download to 20,000 downloads, which for me, I think that is wonderful. When I look at some recent statistics from some other podcasters out there, Joe Rogan, my 20,000 downloads is probably what he gets in a given minute, but that is not going to impact my confidence in any way, shape, or form. But we are going to discuss some really cool stuff over the course of this live stream. And I will tell you, we're gonna start off with a little bit of a correction. There was a comic that we recently spoke about that is even more rare than we thought that it was when we first spoke about it. And I have some insider information that I will bring forward for you all to noodle and to think about. In this show, we're going to talk about the Swoldier box, which is the Swoldier Supply Box, is something that I just announced a few days ago. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, because there have been some improvements and enhancements there that I want to talk about. And then we will also dig into some goal setting. And as I mentioned, we will have a couple of guests on to help me to talk about this stuff. I will tell you, I did not make it to my LCS today. And I saw Doug was in here. Doug made it to his LCS. He picked up 2 books or something like that. At least that's what I thought that I saw from his comments. I did not make it to the LCS, but I will tell you that the LCS found me. The LCS found me. Shout out to my man Doug, who hipped me to a comic shop in his neck of the woods, Phantasm Comics. Phantasm Comics. They are on the screen right now in PA, and I'm going to look down here in New Hope, PA. My man Greg took wonderful care of me as I reached out to him and asked him some questions around a collection that he recently brought in. They took wonderful care of me, great customer service. We made some magic happen, and I would show you the books that I actually picked up, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. We're going to save that for a video that I have planned. I will tell you that there is some dope stuff in this stack. These guys, Phantasm, they are going to be working on a YouTube channel. They're going to be working on a web store, all kinds of stuff. They're hoping to get set up. I would encourage you to follow their Instagram account. Take a look at what is on Instagram. I think they have some good stuff. That I will leave it at that. Shout out to Greg again for taking great care of me. I absolutely appreciate you, sir. All right. So the other thing, the big thing that I want to talk about, and let me go to the chat real quick. Let me look at the chat, see who's all up in here. Philtastic, how you doing, brother? Vox is up in here. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy. How you doing? Cover Lover Comics. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Tina, the OG, is in here. Blue Wrench. Squirrel Man is in here. Eternal Thunder, how you doing? Bake the Snake is back again. Oh, Bake the Snake. I love it, brother. It's good to see you, my friend. Joe is up in here. It's good to see you. Madam Blaster is in the house. It is good to see you. Flash Fan 11 says he has me up on a laptop and he can see me in a larger form. Brother, you need to get me on the big screen TV. I'm gonna tell you, I look good on the big screen TV. Master Blaster is in here. How you doing? Kevin Pitts is in here. Turbo Man, my man Kimball, Mark Andrews. How you doing, brother? It is good to see you. All right, welcome. I am glad that you guys are here spending a little time with me. I see you, Chuck. Corso is in the house. It's good to see all of you guys. Welcome to the live stream. If you are in here right now and this is your first live stream, definitely let us know that so that the Gibbon gang, the Comic Swoldiers, can welcome you properly. Getting myself back on course. We recently well, not recently, over the last several months, Doug and I have been releasing some wonderful videos on speculation, blue ocean spec type of books. And we, I'm gonna include myself in that. We have been working really hard to identify blue ocean books that people are not paying attention to, right? The things that folks are not focused on, but have some potential, right? Um, Doug has honestly done a really good job of identifying these books that are not in Key Collector app. And I say that because Key Collector app is such a great resource. They have so much great information in there that when it hits the app, everyone takes action. And as a result of that, what could be a blue ocean will suddenly become a red ocean opportunity because of Key Collector app. And that is not a criticism. That is a statement of fact, but also of the fact that this app is fantastic. I literally use it every single day. So we identify books that are not in Key Collector app because those are blue out ocean opportunities. And so we have released over the last couple of months 5 videos. And in those 5 videos, we have highlighted 23 books. And most of the books that we have highlighted are actually older books. Like you're talking 30 some odd years with most of the books that we've highlighted as opportunities, right? So it's not like we're cherry picking the new stuff that's actually coming out. But we have identified 23 books, including some honorable mentions. Of those books that we've spoken about in the videos, the 5 videos, 8 of them have gone on to be included in Key Collector app, which in my mind is a recognition of Doug's hard work, right? And his ability to identify these great opportunities to build a rationale for why people should care about this book. Those books are getting pulled in. The most recent one, Wild Cards, issue number 1, was actually pulled into the app after about 24 hours. And I think we're getting close to 5,000 people watching that video, which again, I think is a wonderful testament to Doug's research ability. I don't know where he finds the time, but I'm very thankful for him to find that time. Now, around the same time as this video was getting out there, people were watching it. Key Collector was doing whatever they were doing with inserting the one book from this most recent video into the app. I was doing some things on my own. I was having some conversations with the founder of the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art in New York City. And those of you that watch that video know that the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art is actually MoCA. MoCA was the sponsor of the Spawn issue number 1 reprint, the 3D version that we highlighted in the most recent video. I was literally talking to Lawrence Klein, who is the founder of MoCA, and we got some stuff wrong. Technically, yeah, we got some stuff wrong based upon the research that we did. We are only good as the reference material that we can find, right? So I'm going to offer you guys 2 important points related to Spawn issue number 1, 3D, the reprint that was released, I think, in 2006. And this is all according to the founder. So we were told, we learned from comic book, what is it, Comic Book Price Guide or comicspriceguide.com, that the print run was believed to be 1,000 copies of this 3D book that came with 3D glasses. Because what's good? What good is a 3D book without the glasses? We have now learned, as of last night, that the actual print count was closer to 500 copies of Spawn issue number 1 3D. Not 1,000, it was actually 500. I'm going to take it a step further. Not many people knew this next part, that about 100 copies, about one case or 100 copies were actually water damaged, and I believe disposed of as a result of the water damage. So the reality is that the print run is smaller than what we assumed, and then the available copies is actually a little smaller because of the 100 or so books that were actually damaged. And I think in the video, what we spoke about was the fact that we estimated based upon research that there was 1,000 copies that were made, and that 107 of those copies have actually been graded by CGC. We now know that there are some better numbers. I think it might still be 107, but the print count is definitely smaller, and the surviving copies are smaller as well. So again, wanted to pass that information on to you guys so that you had it. All right. And for some reason, my chat is off big time. I'm not quite sure why there is such a lag in the chat. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. I don't know if this thing is going to catch up. I'm not quite sure. It's like it's gapped. So I'm not sure what the last thing is that you guys are talking about. So bear with me. But again, for those folks that came in a little late, providing some additional insight into the Spawn issue #1 Mocha exclusive that was released in 2006. Some updated information is that the print run was not 1,000. The print run is closer to 500 copies, and about 100 copies were actually damaged and disposed of. So that is the latest and greatest information from Lawrence Klein, the founder of the Museum of Comic and Cartoon Art. So again, some information that I wanted to pass on to you guys, and we're going to have a guest on a little bit later that will maybe spend a little bit of time talking with me about that and what he thinks may happen as a result. So I'm going to go to the chat real quick. At this point, if you were at your LCS and you picked up some comics, I want to hear what it is that you guys picked up. And if you want to shout out your LCS, we can go ahead and do that as well. So let me see. I thought there was a comment here. So Steve White picked up 11 books, Nightmare Blog, New Burn, Aunt Noctera, a couple of other books, Echolin's, the Marvel, Spider-Woman. There you go. You picked up a lot of books, brother. That is well done. Well done. Action Figure Comics Comedy is commenting on the fact that the print run is definitely low. Definitely low print run. I don't know. You kind of assume that it would be higher, that the 1,000 made sense, but it is a museum. It's 2006. I don't know. Again, we're gonna stick with the founder sharing this information, and I think it's all again insightful information to have. So scrolling through some of the comments here, that's cheaper than what I bought it directly from Mocha. I think you guys are having a conversation. Good. Let me see. I was scrolling through the comments here. Mark, what'd you pick up? He picked up Noctera 7, Echolin 6, Blog 4. No, Nightmare Blog 4. A couple of Manor Black. I've never heard of that one. Manor Black. I did read the most recent issue of Out, and again from AWA. I think Mark is the one that turned me on to Out. It is still a really good read. Still enjoying that one. Nosferatu, you cannot go wrong with it. Philtastic, no LCS for him. Maybe on Saturday. Fingers crossed for you, brother. Squirrel Madness is wondering who the guest could be. Let me hear who your guest is. Who do you think the guests are going to be tonight? I'll open it up and see what you guys see. Paul says he picked up Dark Knights of Steel issue #4. Says it's a great series. Vox picked up Noctera 7. Amazing comic shop in Fairfax, Virginia. I know exactly where Fairfax, Virginia is. Part of the reason why we do this, while we shout out not just the comic shops, but the books that you guys are picking up, is because a lot of people always ask me, what are people reading? What's a good series? What should I focus on? So that's part of the reason why we do this. Again, it's a celebration of New Comic Book Day. So we want to highlight these books with the hope that people will investigate and maybe pick these books up and read them for themselves. My man, L. Smith, never disappoints. He never disappoints his LCS with the amount of books that he picks up. Alien 9, ASM 88, Batman 120, picked up 4 different Noctera covers, Sabretooth 1, Shang-Chi issue #8, a lot of really good stuff, and he's shouting out Rick's Comic City. That's what's up. Echolins is so good, says pretty fly for a Filipino guy. Superior Bryce is shouting out his LCS, JAF Comics. I am a huge fan of JAF Comics, and my man John, talk about good customer service and just a nice guy all around. You cannot go wrong with some JAF, and I will continue to do business with people that just have good customer service, right? Vox says he snagged wild cards online. That's what's up. Let me see. Picked up Maniac of New York last week. Almighty Liger King in all caps says he picked up too many books today. Forbidden Planet in New York City, says Caleb. That's what's up. All right, so we are going to hopefully have our guest pop in here so we can go ahead and get started and see what's up. Tina's throwing some stuff out here. She's saying Doug and Steve COMIC are the guests for tonight. Let me see. Bentley says, Mark, it is not going to be Bentley. Well, you never know. Bentley's a little bit of a TikTok celebrity, so you don't know. Turbo Man is shouting out Neo, and Ron says Lou Ferrigno. Lou Ferrigno is, man, if you've ever met him, he is not necessarily the most friendly guy. It might not make for a good guess, so I'm going to pass on him. Doug and Chuck is Squirrel Madness's guest right there. Hopefully Aegis has some Noctera waiting, brother. You better put your bid in. Put your bid in, brother, just to make sure, because you never know. Joey Stuntmaster is going on record, says he thinks the guests are going to be Doug and Matt. All right, so with that, we are going to make a little bit of a pivot to actually talking about we're going to talk about goal setting. And we're going to talk about goal setting because it is the early part of the year, right? It's the early part of the year where people should, in my opinion, be thinking about what it is that they want to accomplish with this hobby, right? Potentially with their collection, potentially with some other things. Like, this is the time to be formulating your goals, coming up with a plan, figuring out how you're going to spend your money, your energy, your time, so that you at the end of the year have something to like celebrate and to look back on and be like, yes, I accomplished that. And so as part of Discord, whenever a member of the community is releasing some content, they have the ability to post up in Discord their videos. And so because I try to tap into Discord at least once per day, I was in there watching one of these videos. It kind of captured my attention, and I wanted to have the guest on to talk with me about like goal setting, why he set them, what his goals are, what he hopes to accomplish, and maybe from that, you'll have some takeaways that may also help you. And so to that point, I actually want to welcome to the show my man, Alan. It is good to see you, brother.
Hello, hello. How's it going?
We need to crank your volume up.
Crank it up. Okay.
It is like a whisper in my ear, and we need to be like,
How is this?
that
Is
is
this
a
better?
little bit better.
A little bit better. How about now?
Oh, we're getting better. We're getting
We're
warmer.
getting better. We're getting better. Okay. How about that? How
All
about
right.
that?
So I'm going to try to tweak it on my side. You're better than you were. So let me tweak it just a little bit to see.
Sounds
Alan, Climbing Comics, it's good to see you, brother. How are things?
very good. Very good. I'm excited to talk about goals today.
All right. And it's still definitely hard for us to hear.
Okay. All
It's a
right. Let
little
me.
staticky. There may be something going on with the line.
There might be something going on with the line.
Oh,
Let's
that's
see.
better.
That's better.
Yep.
That's better.
Nope.
I changed it in. Yeah.
It did. It's the same now.
It's the same. How is it now? How's it now?
That's better.
That's much better. Okay.
All right, let's stick there. Let's pause right there. Alan, Climbing Comics, it is good to see you. How are things?
Good, good. I'm excited to talk about goals this year.
All right. So what I noticed when I watched your video, Alan, one of the things that you had talked about was the fact that the goals that you had in 2021 were very focused on like collecting, and it was very book driven. But it seemed like for 2022, you wanted to make a little bit of a pivot. Can you talk with me about why you decided to make a pivot and then what that pivot was? And then we'll get to the specific goals a little bit later.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So you're completely right. 2021 was very much so uh, collecting driven and some content driving, right? So throughout that year, obviously the world kind of opened up, situations changed a little bit. So obviously my situation changed also. So I was kind of focusing on collecting. So this is from X-Men, Uncanny X-Men 94 to 130, the main part of the Claremont run. Um, but as the year went by, I noticed, hey, this is if I'm putting all my focus on just collecting goals and not much of anything else, if things go down the wayside in collecting, that there goes my my excitement, my passion for the hobby. So I decided, hey, let's not put all my eggs in one basket in 2022. Let's mix it up. Let's add a couple more pillars to what makes this hobby fun, at least for me, and kind of spread it out with not just collecting, but a couple of other things as well.
And I think I personally had a similar transition at one point, right? Where it was very much all about the books. I got to get the books. I got to get this book, that book, right? It went from this whole wish list type of thing to being a little more well-rounded than that. And it sounds like you're making that same evolution. And I liked how in your video, you spoke about your goals as pillars. I kind of like that. It's not just a goal; it is a pillar to build upon. That's kind of how I took it. And I do believe you set 4 pillars for yourself. Can you talk with us about those 4 pillars and just kind of touch on each one? And I think if you do that, it will better illustrate the transition that you made from 2021 to 2022.
Yes. So again, 2021 was 2 pillars. That was just collecting and some content. So 2022, the 4 pillars you mentioned, I kind of made an acronym for myself, CRCS, right? Play on CBCS, whatever. But so first off is collecting. Obviously, I want to continue collecting. It's not as many books as I planned as in 2021, but it's a much smaller list. R, reading. That's one of the things I did not do as much as I wanted to last year. I felt like I was collecting, but not really understanding the stories that for overall. And thirdly, content, right? I wanted to focus more on like putting out content that I would like to see myself, because I felt like I was putting out content that maybe other people might like, but maybe not me. And then S, selling. So I want to work on, trying to have the hobby fund itself. This is a lot of this stuff I've learned from you, because I feel like with these 4 pillars, if one of those fall, there's 3 other things that could still keep me happy throughout the year. It's much, to me, diversifying how I spend my time in this hobby is actually more beneficial for myself long term.
I absolutely love it. I will tell you that. I absolutely love it because it can't just be about the buying of books, right? Whether, I mean, in my mind, right? The hobby can't just be about buying books, and content creation can't just be about showing books that you've bought. It should be more than that, right? And so, tell me to understand, and I think you spoke about it already. But by having these 4 pillars, what are you hoping to accomplish? Yes, you want to get the books. Yes, you want to put out some more content. But ultimately, what are you striving for?
I'm striving basically to have fun and be happy in this hobby, because it's a hobby, right? I think you brought this up before. It should not be like, at least for me, it's not like the main focus of my life. I feel like if I go into hobby, I want to make sure that I get enjoyment out of it. Last year, I felt like that waxed and waned quite a bit, because I'm like, all right, if I miss out on this book, oh, that sucks. Or now the world is opening up, I don't have enough time to make content. Oh, this sucks. But with kind of reading and like, selling and doing a little bit of everything, I feel like I give myself an opportunity to like maintain being entertained and have fun in this hobby. Because I think the main goal of the reason why I watch you, the reason why I watch a lot of other people, is because I find entertainment and fun in it, and I want to keep that rolling,
I
basically.
respect it, brother. I'm going to ask you like a quick question, then I want to ask you another question. So, how
Mhm.
far did you take it, right? Because we're kind of sort of in the same industry, right? And in our industry, we set these goals and then we weight the goals. You didn't go so far as to weight the goals, did you? I just
No,
want to be clear.
okay, I kind of did.
I honestly didn't know if you were going to give me one. I didn't know. So you weighted the goals, did you?
Yes,
Mm.
yes, I did. I weighted the goals because I felt like, we need to make these pillars strong, and then we got to put the heaviest, strongest pillar on the thing that I know I could reach and hit the easiest, right? So
I respect it.
that's yeah, that's that's
I
what
respect
happens.
it, because again, for those people that don't know, you don't just set 4 goals and just say each one is 25, right? Because that doesn't really prioritize them, right? So you kind of assign some weights to them, and you're playing a game of what can I accomplish, what can I do to score them the highest, right? What's my likelihood of success here? So you're playing a little bit of a game. I'm not going to ask you how you scored them or weighed them, but I think it's hilarious that work life is spilling over into the hobby. I find it funny. I do. I
It
enjoy
is.
that. Let me ask you this. So there may be people out there right now that are listening to you, and they may be having some epiphanies, right? I think a lot of people in this hobby will set these want lists. I want to get this book. I want to get that book. But based upon what you have spoken about, maybe a light bulb came on. What advice would you give people that are thinking about having some kind of evolution to create some specific goals for themselves as it relates to this hobby and comic book collecting? What advice would you provide?
All right, so I'm gonna call some advice from one of my favorite X-Men characters. So not many people know this guy, but Darwin, right? So adapt, 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 adapt. I think this is what I've learned last year, right? As the world changes, I have to change with the world. Otherwise, I'm gonna be left behind, right? Just the same thing in terms of certain books are not the same price yesterday as they are today or tomorrow, right? So you
Hold
kind of
on.
adapt.
Sorry, that's a TikTok meme, brother.
I know, I had to drop that in
Yeah,
there.
what does he say? Fat Joe, today, no, what is it? Today's price is not yesterday's price. Just I could hear him in my head. Go ahead, brother. Finish your thought.
Yeah, no, exactly that. My goals throughout the year, and I know that they will probably adjust, wax and wane, and change. But I set these four goals, but those are the pillars. But I'm gonna weave these pillars into much smaller, more manageable, individual day-to-day goals. And if those don't work, I have to adapt. So I think my goals, and this is a mantra I say at the end of each of my videos, is like. From my comic collection journey to yours, like you got to make it your own, right? So how I collect, how I make this hobby fun for me is different than how what makes fun for you. So I think just adapting to whatever situation you might be in is the biggest takeaway that I would have.
Well done, brother. Well done. Again, I salute you. I saw what books you want to get as part of the C and the CRCS. I wish you luck on that journey. Just wonderful books, man. I have no doubt that you will be successful, right? Because the statistic is, what is it? Like you're 70%, 80% more likely to achieve a goal if it's actually written down. And so you're already on the path of success simply by being able to write it down and articulate what you're focused on, right? So I want to thank you for that. Before I let you go, brother, where can people find you on the social media?
Yes, so on YouTube, you guys could find me at Climbing Comics, on Instagram, Climbing Comics 452, and of course, this is what I do, so it's the Climbing Comics. So check you guys out over there. Thanks.
Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure, brother. Thank you for contributing to the Discord. I'm glad that you posted that video because there's so much content that gets created that the fact that you posted it in the Discord allowed me to find it easily and be able to watch it and enjoy it and then be able to invite you on the show. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you so much, Reggie.
My pleasure, brother. All right. So we're going to bring our next guest up here in just a couple of moments. But as I mentioned at the top of the show, I want to take a second to actually highlight the comic book, or I'm sorry, the Swoldier Supply Box. This is a project that I kicked off just recently. It's been in the back of my mind, and I may have mentioned it to Matt Woods and also Master Blaster many months ago that this was something I was thinking about doing. It has taken me some time with all the other stuff that I have going on in life to actually get to this point to roll this thing out, but it is now here. And so the comic book Swoldier box is essentially a box of supplies, and these boxes were provided to me by my friends over at Reptilian Overlord. They have a couple of different boxes for like a couple of raw books to a nice stack of raw books to slabs. So they offer three different types of boxes to house your stuff, and I've chosen like their mid-size box for the Swoldier Supply Box to send them out. These things the boxes are packed full of supplies that I think comic book collectors can benefit from. If you are collecting comics and you're buying bags and boards, you know that it's a little hard to get bags and boards. So the cornerstone is from my friends over at Comic Clear. They hooked me up with some clear bags and boards, and you heard me correct. The backing boards are clear, which is great if you have wraparound virgin variant covers and all that kind of stuff where you want to showcase the book. Clear backing board, high quality products. The poly bags actually perform kind of sort of like a Mylar in the sense that it gives your comic book beer goggles. It looks really good inside of that poly bag. In addition to that, we also have some mounts. A lot of people ask me about the mounts that I use to secure my comics to the wall. we actually have those mounts inside of each one of the boxes that will go out. And we have 3 different types of mounts that could be placed in the box. Most of them are the ones that I use for my slabs and raw books, which is this one right here from the folks over at Collector Mounts. We also have a DVD mount for those that have games and DVDs and 45s and that kind of stuff. And then the last one are for trading cards, sports cards, and all that kind of stuff. So one of these mounts will be in each box, along with some other things like box cutters and some comic books, because you cannot send out a box to the comic book community without including some comic books as well. So there's a nice assortment of comics in each one, at least 3 comics. And we're talking about some comics, newsstands of Spider-Man 99, 2099, some nice variants from IG Comic Store. There's a nice assortment of stuff in there, but really the focus is on the supplies, not necessarily on the comics, but there's some good stuff. And I will tell you, there is something else that is going to be coming out. I may announce it on Sunday's show. It is dope. Let me tell you, it is dope. And I'm holding back announcing and showing this thing, but I definitely want to encourage you guys to check it out. Head over to regiecollects.com, all kinds of information there on the Swoldier Supply Box. All right, that is enough of the commercial. I want to now bring on my next guest, and I want to have him on to give me his read of what we talked about at the beginning of the show, which is the fact that the Spawn issue number 1 3D is more rare than we anticipated that it was. We thought that the print count was 1,000 copies. The print count for this book is actually 500 copies. And we have learned from Lawrence Klein, the founder of the museum, that at least 100 copies of the 500 print count were water damaged and basically disposed of. And so I want to invite onto the show the expert that I keep in my back pocket to talk with me about Spawn stuff, S.Cange. It is good to see you, brother. Does he have me on mute? He may have me on mute.
Sorry, brother. I had this page turner that I couldn't put down. Sorry, my bad. I apologize.
So let's be clear. That was not a planned, shameless plug on my part.
No.
Steve, it's good to see you, brother.
Good to see you too, brother. How you been, man?
Whenever I talk to you, I always feel good. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because you smile as much as me. Maybe
it's the Bullhead Club. I don't know, man.
There's a lot I like about you. I'm gonna just say that. There's a lot that I like about you, brother.
What is going on, brother? First of all, foremost, man, congratulations on everything that you're doing, brother. It is amazing. You are like a pillar of this whole comic book thing, man. Not only did I get this one, but I got this one.
No, man, we none of this stuff. Oh, you got look at you. None of this stuff.
I rolled the dice, man, and I was trying to get the other variant, and I think your mom did me dirty.
Did you bring up my mom? She might have done you dirty. She
was like, "Oh, it's Steve. He get the same covers."
You're a nut. You are a nut. No, man. I could not do any of this stuff without you guys, right? Without guests that come on the show, without the people that feed me information behind the scenes, without people doing research, without people doing covers that they give me as AOKs that become the book that becomes the cover, right? It's like things fall into place, and I'm very thankful that things fall into place. And we want to keep the ball rolling, brother.
Absolutely,
Cure for Utopia. Let's make it. Let's get it cracking. Let's get it cracking, brother. Look at it. Let's get it cracking.
I got something coming up soon for that. Like it's coming up soon. We'll definitely talk about that. I appreciate you, brother.
Open invitation.
Absolutely.
Back to the task at hand.
Absolutely.
Spawn issue number 1 3D print count, not 1,000, but 500.
I got mine.
What impact does this have in your mind? Talk to me about what you heard when I made this announcement earlier, because you didn't know what we were going to talk about. You had no clue.
I did. I had no clue. And for me, it's a sidestep for me because I'm trying to figure this out. I'm like, where's this information coming from? And I know you do your homework, so I believe 100% what you're saying to me. So if that's the case, it may still be the rarest, but it's not really that hard to find. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can find that book. Yep. To me, 185, the sketch cover, is still the grail.
Yeah,
is a ghost book when it comes to, because they didn't print that many, But as far as that book is concerned, it's still a must-have. Like, you have to have this in the collection. And quick story, I almost gave that book away.
The Spawn book, did you?
I almost gave it away because I was doing my Spawn collection, whatever, and I was like, oh, this is a 3D book. And then something told me, no. My partner, Wilton, was like, no. And I was like, okay, let me put this back in the collection. And, that's when I was just like, okay, let me get everything. I was like, let me just find out everything about Spawn. And yeah, definitely is one to have. You definitely, if you're a Spawn collector, you have to have that one.
And in my head, that's how I think about this. I don't think this as like, hey, you got to get this book because this is a $3,000 book. No. I don't think that that's it. But it's more like, in my mind, again, if you are a Spawn fan, and there are some hardcore Spawn fans out there, that you want to have this book, you want to know about this book. And that's why, like, we highlighted it, one. And then two, when Lawrence reached out and was like, hey, here's some additional information, I was like, oh, well, let's share that, because
I didn't know that.
In my mind, the real Spawn fans love those type of tidbits, right?
Yes, I mean, absolutely.
And so it's like, let's share that. And then to that point, now that it's been shared, what are your thoughts on some of that?
Oh no, it's amazing, because now it kind of makes you feel more special about the book, because you're like, oh, I have one. and I know what's gonna happen to that book. You know what's gonna, once the information's out there, it's like, okay, now it was a $20, $30, $40 book, and now
I don't even have the book.
Right.
I don't even have it. You know what I'm saying?
I had it in my original collection. I honestly believe I bought it when I was a kid.
Really?
I think I bought it when I was a kid, because I went to a comic book store in Brooklyn. It was called Larry's. It was like on Coney Island Avenue. All my Brooklyn heads know Larry's from back in the day. And I believe I bought it from his store when I was a kid. Because I remember when Spawn came out, Spawn was big. So I was going crazy, Spawn everything. You know what I'm saying? And then I stopped, which I shouldn't have stopped.
That's what happens, man. That's what happens. Probably your mom talked you out of it. That's what happened to me.
No,
Sheila was like, you wasting your money,
No, Eve was like, keep going, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? Comics were cheaper than toys. Right? So comics was cheaper than toys back then. So she was like, okay, just keep reading your comic books. But for some strange reason, I stopped collecting Spawn after a while, and I wish I didn't. But the beautiful thing was, even though it cost me a pretty penny to finish my collection, it was fun.
Yeah.
The hunt was just so much fun, and now everybody knows me, and they come to me and they're like, oh, do you got this book? Do you got this book? I'm like, okay.
I go to the Spawn guy. I think, did he not introduce you to Larry or Lawrence recently?
Yes.
Like a couple weeks ago, I thought.
Yes, we're still conversing back and forth.
Are you good?
Good.
You know me, I'm not gonna get involved, but I wanted to facilitate the dialogue, and now I'm out of it. But I was like, I think I put you in touch with him.
Well, see, the funny thing is that when I bought this massive Spawn collection, and then I started the comic book cartel, me and my partner realized, we were like, you know what? Let's help people like us, so they don't have to come out their face, and their pockets to get these books, these Spawn books. So we've been selling them on the cheap, and one guy actually even reached out to us, was like, hey, thank you for the collection. Me and my son been looking for these books. And we sent it to them. It wasn't even, I'm not trying to get rich off of this, man, but I just had so many doubles that I was like, what can we do with them? He was like, yo, let's just sell them at cost. So it was fun.
It's a good place to be. And it's one of those things, man, when a lot is given to you, then you try to share those things with other people, especially when people appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So again, a father and son, it could have been Eve and you, You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Dad's like, let me get these comics because it's cheaper than these toys, you know? So you just never know.
Exactly. Like my mom was like, it's cheaper. And it was crazy is that now my nephew
Mm.
like is getting into it. Like he
Mm.
called me yesterday. Well, no, 2 days ago, and he goes, "Yo, Unc, you know, what books should I get into?" And I told him, you know, what books he should get into, whatever. And he's like, "Oh man, I had to buy a short white box the other day." I said, "So it has begun."
The boy becomes a man.
Exactly.
Short box. That's what's up.
Now I know, because my son's not really into it. So I know, if anything, I know who I can pass the collection on to. You know what I'm saying? And he will enjoy it, you know. So
I'm hoping one of my kids gets the bug, brother.
Yeah,
I just need one.
My son could care less.
I just need one of them to get on board, and then I can go buy stuff and say that I bought it for the kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, Carter needed this. Adeline really wanted this expensive book that she's never gonna touch. So I just hold it.
But it's in a slab, babe. I mean, she could just look at it. Look.
Look, don't touch, brother.
Exactly.
All right, S.Cange, it is always good to talk to you, my man. I definitely appreciate your insight into Spawn. We're gonna have to find some other reasons to bring you back because I do enjoy talking with you.
You're gonna have plenty of reasons soon, brother. Plenty of reasons.
It's
coming, man. It's coming.
That's what's up. Good stuff. I'm proud of you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Where can people get a hold of you on the social medias?
You guys can get a hold of me at Instagram. Is my favorite, like Reg, S.Cange, CANGE. I started also Comic Book Cartel on Instagram. Like, if you're looking for any books, anything between like 2010 and 20, I most likely got you. You know, and Reg, I know that Doug did a blog about ghost books.
Yeah,
brother, we need to talk. I got some ghosts.
No, I see your posts on Instagram, and I'm like,
brother, I got
you just ghosts. Rubbing it in. You just rubbing it. When I read it, I'm like, ooh, he's rubbing that in.
I got some ghosts, brother.
I sometimes don't even like your posts because
it's all for sale, brother. It's all for sale.
So for those that don't know, Doug did drop a blog post on I think it was Wednesday.
Yeah,
I think it was Wednesday at 10 a.m. talking about ghost books. So if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely encourage you to check it out. Doug is a fountain of knowledge. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Steve, good to see you, brother. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Take care.
Love that guy. There is something about him that I just like. As soon as I see his face, it just makes me happy. All right. The very last thing that I want to talk about is the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, which Steve just showed you copies of. I have been beaten to a pulp. I've been beaten to a pulp by Doug, Scott, and my wife, Kelly. They have all beaten me to a pulp, encouraging me to create a digital copy of the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting. I have been resistant. I will be honest, I have been resistant, but I will tell you that a digital copy of the guide is now available on regiecollects.com. I think we priced it at $8 or something like that. My wife's words were, if you have created this thing to be a resource for people, you have to make the resource available beyond just the print copy. And so there you go. It was not because of Doug and Scott. It was because my wife urged me to do it over the course of several conversations. So the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting is now available right now. So I'm going to go to the chat real quick and see what you guys are talking about. Even when Doug is not on, he seems part of the reason for it is I literally talk to Doug every day, almost all day. Literally, we are working on so many really cool projects that he and I touch base often. So who is that? There's a comment here, Steve. Oh no, Matt. Matt says the digital copy can reach a larger audience. Yes, especially internationally, with folks that don't want to pay for shipping because shipping can be expensive. It makes perfect sense. There is also a reason why I married my wife, because she is indeed a smart woman. She sees the world differently than I, and you need that. I think if everybody sees it the same way, then I think you have blind spots, if you know what I mean. And my wife looks at things differently. She is not a comic collector, but she She has an opinion. She has a point of view, and I have learned to embrace that contrarian point of view that she has. So listen to your wives, fellas. Well done, brother. If you want to be happy, you should listen to your wife. That is, or your significant other or whatever. You gotta adapt, Reggie. Follow. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Is I don't mind contrarian viewpoints, right? But when a contrarian viewpoint comes my way, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna have the back and forth. We're gonna talk about the why behind it. And if someone can put forth a convincing argument why I should do something, I will wholeheartedly get on board and get behind it. And again, that's why we are releasing the digital copy. So it seems like a lot of people are like, yeah, that's a good idea. You probably should have listened a long time ago. There you go. Happy wife, happy life, and also safe collection, because if you get a divorce, they potentially will come after that collection, man or woman. Speak the truth. Rytech says missed out on the print runs, and it will be essential. There you go. Now you have it available to you on regiecollects.com. I believe that it is $8 is what we priced it at. It is available as a PDF download. And it contains all of the covers that were released by myself and by Comic Tom. You can at least see the covers. You do not have the ability to print, right? So we had to lock the thing down, right, to protect the intellectual property. So you do not have the ability to print, but you can, of course, look at it on whatever device you happen to download it from. So yeah, it is out there for folks to be able to check out. We need to make the guide available through Comixology. It has become a staple for collecting. Brother, I will tell you, we are exploring all kinds of options to improve distribution of the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting Volume 1. And I don't know if Comixology is it, but we are exploring options. There are a lot of wonderful options out there, and we are going to try to make some magic happen. Steve Conge, he's still chiming in. Listen, I got it. Scrolling through the comments here. What is that? What is that? Big J? How you doing, brother? It's good to see you. Another. Are you from NYC? He says you're helping to make my re-entry into the hobby a very smooth transition, brother. I'll be completely honest with you, Big J. That is the mission of the channel by and large, right? The goal is to try to help people to become smart about comic book collecting, whether you are new to the hobby, newly returning, or even a seasoned veteran, because I think that we can all learn from one another. And so the Guide to Smart Comic Collecting is very much in that vein of trying to help people as much as possible, not tell you what to do, but to say, here are some things to consider. You might be able to sort it out and to make some magic happen. Scrolling to some of the comments, and there are some funny things. Steve, this guy's on fire. He's just shouting out stuff. He's just shouting out. First of all, do not give away my marketing plan, Steve Conge. Okay, scrolling through the rest of the comment. Yeah, I am always dropping hints. If you pay attention, there are always hints that are being dropped. There he says Newark, New Jersey. That's what's up. Scrolling through. You have two choices in marriage. You can be happy or you can be right. I do not disagree with the single word of that. I tell you, I say it all the time. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever received from someone was my father-in-law said, what is the secret to a happy marriage? He says, learn these words, honey, you could be right. And I take the honey off and I say, you could be right. And it works incredibly well because it's not saying I'm wrong. It's not saying you're wrong. It's saying that there's the possibility that either of us could be right or wrong. It's like a safe out. So, what is that? There's a comment here from Rock. I was able to get my guide up in Canada through Comic Tom's mail call, got the white variant cover. Oh, that's nice. That's a nice cover. I will tell you that we are making plans to attend some cons. We are making plans to attend cons in 2022. I don't know if they'll be in Canada, but we are going to go to some cons and show up and meet the people, press some flesh, sign some books, and do some other hopefully magical things. You know what I'm saying? So scrolling through the comments, a lot of kind and wonderful things being said. Shout out to everyone that has actually picked up a copy of our one of the Swoldier boxes. I've seen several orders actually come in. I will tell you guys, if you have not watched the most recent Master and Madam Blaster video, you should treat yourself. It's a husband and wife team, if you will, and she puts this man's feet to the fire. She asked him if he hides comics, if he leaves comics in the car, if he's strategic about when he talks about the comics that he buy. I mean, she went in hard. She went in hard and she sat back and chuckled at several points as he attempted to get the definition. You know, it's like, well, what do you mean by? It's like, brother, just answer the question. That's what I was saying to my phone as I was watching it the other day. Wonderful, wonderful exchange. I encourage you to check it out because it is really, really funny. All right. So with that, Regie at Heroes Con, I don't know. I don't know if we're going to go to Heroes Con. Where is that comment? Terry, how you doing, brother? I don't know. There are some cons that we are looking at, and the cons that we will go to will be very strategic. The cons will be very strategic to things that we are attempting to do over the course of this year. And there's a lot of wonderful stuff that we're hoping to get to. And as you guys know, every single project builds upon the next project. You know what I'm saying? So what I am doing with the Swoldier box will lend itself to something else. And then that something else will lend itself to the Swoldier box. So the goal is to make each one of these things that is being done as successful as possible, because they will build upon themselves with more time. So with that, we're going to wrap this thing. Oh, brother. I hope your wife is, or your significant other is not watching right now, because that is on the screen and you might be cold busted. That's all that I'm going to say to you, brother. with that, we are going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all for hanging out with me just a little bit. Shout out to both of my guests for coming on and sharing their knowledge and their insight. I continue to be impressed by the guests that come on the show and their ability to effectively communicate some stuff, have some fun, and continue contributing to this community that we all enjoy. As always, if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.